Hello YouTube, this is Ryan, aka the Habitual Line Stepper. I hope this video does find you well. I hope you're at peace, and if you're not at peace, I hope you're actively, aggressively, and relentlessly pursuing your peace. I want to talk about learning to be decisive and standing on it, 10 toes down. One of the things that I talk about often on this channel is developing yourself, working on yourself, um, being the architect of your life. Everything you should be doing should be towards your peace in every sense of the word and every aspect of your life. You, I'll say this, it is essential to be a sound decision maker. It is essential. As you're working on yourself, as you're developing yourself, as you're doing some trial and error, because nothing's perfect in this life, everything's not going to go the way you expect it to go, even though you may have planned it perfectly. Learn to be decisive and stand on your decision. Sometimes you have to make a decision that's not the best. And when I say that is you're basically between two bad decisions or two rough decisions. And you have to decide which one you're going to take. Sometimes, it's going to be something that's going to be, a must have in one hand and a must do in another. And you have to decide what you want to do. And each one of them have their own ramifications, their own problems that can stem from it, and their own benefits that stem from it. You got to decide what you can live with and what you can't, and weigh that out and make a decision and stand on it. Throughout your life, you're going to have some serious decisions you're going to have to make. I know I've had to make some decisions. I had to make some life-changing decisions, of quite a few of them in my lifetime. And when I think back on them, I have no regret in the decisions I've had to make, because I understand the circumstances around those decisions. I understood that, I've done my due diligence. I understood what the ramification would be behind my decision. I understood that, it may be bad for some. It may be, in some regard, it'll probably be bad for me in the short term. But I'm a long-term thinker. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not a malicious kind of person. I'm not the kind of person who takes any pleasure in people being hurt. And any decision I make, I'm gonna try to do it in the least, in the way that causes the least damage, and live with that decision. Personally, I've had to make some personal decisions in my life that concern just stepping away from certain types of people, certain specific people, even family. They had to go, and it wasn't an emotional decision in the sense that, I did it in the heat of the moment. It was more of a logical decision. You find out certain people who you would think are, looking out for your best interest. They really care for you. But that's not always the case. You have people who fall under the disguise of caring for you. They do all the right motions and verbiage and all this other stuff to kind of rope you in. But I'm an action kind of guy. I look at what you do, not what you say. Talk is cheap. You can talk all day, but unless you have actions to demonstrate what you're talking about, it means nothing. Your words mean zero. And so I have to make the decisions. I'm like, listen, I don't have time to waste trying to figure out or trying to bring this person into my fold. Trying to get some kind of, relationship out of somebody who clearly, you know, doesn't have my best interest in mind and showed me that they don't care. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with walking away from that situation. I'm okay with not having to deal with people who cannot tolerate me in their own space or will not tolerate me in their own space, for whatever reason. you know they may, whatever they're projecting on me or whatever the insecurities are, it's something that they have to deal with. But me personally, I had to make some decisions. I had to say, you know what, I've seen enough. I'm banging the gavel. I'm saying, you know what, I've already brought, here's the verdict. I can't mess with you anymore. I can't be in you. I can't allow you in my company. And this is not a conversation, by the way, that I'm having with this person. This is my mind working. Because when you're cutting people off, there's no need for this whole this whole discussion. The time to discuss was prior to the decision. Now the decision's made. I don't have any more words for you. I just fade to black. There's not going to be any back and forth and why and all this other stuff. You know what you did. So you step away. You leave. And you stay 10 toes down on that decision. You stick to that decision. Because you've already had enough information. You have enough evidence. People do not change. I don't care which people, there's certain things that people are. And especially as you become an adult, the chances of that person ever changing to the point where you can tolerate them in your space is slim to none. People are going to be who they are. Only time a person will even entertain the thought of change is total devastation. And that's just to entertain the thought. So with that being said, I had to make the decision because I saw what I saw. I look in reality. I don't look in fantasy and hope that this person will change. I've had enough. I'm the kind of person, I'll give you space. I'll give you space to see, what, I made this mistake. Maybe I should adjust some things, But if you don't, and you clearly are wrong in your position, I have no problem walking away from you. I will just, like I said, I'll fade to black. I won't ask about you. You won't know anything about my life because I will cut you off completely. You don't have to know anything. We don't have to talk because clearly you were fine with not knowing me. You were fine with not being able to tolerate me or be in my space, want to communicate or have any relationship on that level. So I have no problem walking away from that. That is easy work. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, listen, hey, I know how I feel about me, and I know what I have done, and I'm okay with sitting away because I didn't do any wrong. And even if you perceive me of doing wrong, your perception is not reality. That's one of the phrases I hate the most. And when people say perception is reality, no, your perception is not reality. Reality is reality. How you perceive reality is inconsequential. It doesn't matter how you perceive what is real. It's what's real. You take things at face value, and that's what I do. And so when it comes to relationships, like I said, you have to make some decisions because those decisions impact where you're going, your peace. And so you make those decisions that, certain people have to be removed. Certain people I have to say, goodbye to forever and be 100% okay with that decision. Fill their space with people who who add to your life. That's what you do. And you live with that. On another aspect of this, your jobs. For those of us who have jobs, which the majority of people, in order to make it in this life, have jobs. Very few of us have come from, great wealth where we don't have to work. But careers. I've had to say some goodbyes to some careers, some jobs, because it was clearly toxic. And I had to think about, do I really want to be dealing with this long term? Now, don't get me wrong. You get your money. Don't allow yourself to, unless it's so toxic where it just, you just have to get out today. But I personally planned my exits. Once I've seen the indication that this is not going to work for me, because, you have some, certain people who are in decision-making positions who are tasked with managing you. Once you see that they are incompetent or they are toxic, you start planning your exit immediately. What's your next plan? What's your contingency plan? I believe you never get 100% comfortable regardless whether or not you like the job. You can have a great situation going on, but I don't believe that you stay complacent. You may wind up staying with that company 30 years, but also have in the back of your mind, you may have to pivot at some point, depending on where the company's going, what supervisors are coming in, what new management's coming in, how you're being compensated, all those things. And so you have to be able to make certain decisions, and sometimes it's hard. I've had to make some decisions where I had to go without for a certain period of time, but it goes back, like I said, to a previous video, which you guys, I recommend you watch, is bet on yourself. When you know you have your own bag, you can take risks because you know what you bring. In this regard, the job. You have a certain skill set. You may have gotten to some degrees. You may have got some certifications. You may have a certain, your name may be out there. You may be the kind of person that, interview well. You have all these things going for you. You got a good work ethic and all this stuff. You may know certain people in certain places. You give yourself this opportunity. You may have some money saved. That's another thing. You may have your emergency money saved. So if you do decide to leave a job, or you're, for whatever reason you're terminated, you have this cushion where you don't have to worry about for the next 6 months, 3 months, a year of, being able to pay your expenses and live. That's, that's how you plan. You can plan your exit better, because you have these cushions and these abilities and these certifications or whatever you have where you're going to be okay. So you don't have to tolerate being in a toxic environment, dealing with people who are not looking out for your best interest, not being compensated properly. You can make solid decisions. So sometimes they're hard. Like when I was younger, I had to make some hard decisions. I had to walk away from some jobs because I felt like I was being disrespected. Actually, I know I was being disrespected, and I know I was being given tasks and not being compensated for it. And I decided I'm not going to deal with this. I knew I was young, and I knew I had my degree. I knew my name was out there, and I knew my ability. I was relentless. I was going to find something to get me through. I didn't have the money that saved. Because I was young and I came out of college, and I didn't have the time or the inclination to do it at the time, but I had those other things going for me that I said, I got the time and the youth where I could take a hit now, and I will be back to where I want to get to, and then some. And I had to make a decision with that, and I did not regret that decision. Were things tough during that time? Yes, things were tough. But I knew I was going to do whatever it took, even if it meant me getting 2, 3 part-time jobs in the meantime while I'm interviewing and constantly looking for something else. At the time, the internet wasn't necessarily as wide as it is, but whatever version of internet we had, I went on that. I went to the public libraries. I did the old school, going to the businesses, putting my applications in, sending out resumes, all that stuff. I bet on myself. Because the decision to leave that job was optimal for me in terms of I didn't have to deal with that environment anymore, and it freed my mind up a little bit to explore some other options. It was just that bad. Now in hindsight, I would have did one thing differently, because in this particular situation, I did not have any money saved. I would have waited till I saved up a nice little cushion of money, and then I would have left. And there'll be videos where I'll talk about that whole thing, because there was a lot of moving parts with that. But like I said, you stand on that decision, and I stood on that decision, and that was one of the best decisions I have made as far as career. Now, when it comes to financial decisions, and again, any decision, I'm just listing out some examples. Any decision that you make that's life-changing, do your due diligence, look at the pros and cons, look at where it's going to set you out, look at what you set yourself up for, as far as whether or not you can be, if something doesn't work out, what's my contingency plan? What do I have? What have I built up? What do I have this cushion? Do I have these contacts? All those things. But speaking on financially, I didn't want to be in debt. I got tired of that as a young person. I was tired of it. I was like, you know what? It seemed like every time my check comes, I'm paying a damn bill. I'm paying off some loan payment. If my money was gone, paying the rent, which it seemed like every time I had a check, it was gone. I couldn't really enjoy something. Here it is. I want to go out and eat and date and go to certain events and stuff like that. But it was like torture, because you're constantly trying to find the money to do it. And every time if somebody is with their hand out, as far as like I said, the finance company for your car, your rent, your student loans, all this stuff. There's always somebody with their damn hand out. And by the time I put money in all these hands, there was nothing left to do anything. And so I got to that point where I got tired of it. And I had to make some hard decisions. I was like, listen, you're going to have to do something, because if you don't want, you either have to make more money, get rid of this debt, or both. And I was basically like, yeah, well, let's do both. So I cut back on everything, even though it wasn't much to cut back on, because I was not a spender in terms of buying the nicest clothes and the nicest shoes and going to concerts and stuff like that. I was relatively lean, but then I said, you know what? I'm gonna focus on one loan or one credit card, one car. I'm gonna focus on it. I'm gonna pay off one, and then that'll free up whatever that amount is to pay off. I can add that to the other one until I got to the point where I had zero debt, and it was relatively quick. I can't remember the time frame. I'm not gonna say it happened in 3 months, but it happened. It took me about I think it took me a couple of years, maybe 3, to get out. And I had to make a lot of hard decisions. I had to say no to a lot of things, a lot of people, in the short term, because I do believe short-term pain for long-term gain. That's a good video. I'm gonna put that. Short-term pain for long-term gain. That's what was in my mind. And I decided I was just going to do without. Got a cheaper car. Didn't go out as much, which means my dating life had to suffer, because, you're getting to know somebody. She may want to go out to dinner. She may want to experience some things. Had to say no for that for a while. Um, get a cheaper place to stay for a while. You know, and I know nowadays that's easier said than done because everything's high. I'm just telling you what I had to do at the time. Instead of a 2 bedroom, got a 1 bedroom. Instead of 1 bedroom, got a studio. You know, just got as low as I possibly could do. Paid, try, you know, once everything was paid off, my life became so much better because now I had money to do what I wanted to do because I did what I had to do. And it was hard and I had to make some decisions. Had family members, oh, just finance another car. No, I told them, I said, the next car I get, I'm not gonna have no debt. I'm saving up and buying it, and that's what I did. I've managed to do that with a couple of cars. As a matter of fact, every car since. I refuse to go into debt for anything anymore. So I decided, you know what, that's going to be my life. And I made it in a 10 toes down. And to this day, that's one of the keys to me building my wealth is the fact that I have no debt. Any money coming into me is my money. It goes where I tell it to go. I don't have to answer to nobody when it comes to what I want to do because I paid the price. And that's what you have to do. You have to pay the price. You have to stand 10 toes down on your decision. How painful it may be, you made that decision because you did your due diligence and you see and you have calculated what that result's going to be. If I could just suffer for a short term, I can and endure this. The prize at the end is long-term gain. Now, am I a multi-millionaire? Nope. But I tell you what, I'm comfortable. I'm at peace. I don't have to worry about checking my bank account, being scared to check it because I'm afraid what's in there ain't enough. I don't have to worry about creditors. Scared to open up my mailbox because I'm afraid it's going to be something in like a red envelope talking about final notice. I can jump on a plane and be in a foreign country tonight if I wanted to. And this is not bragging. This is just basically illustrating the freedom that I have now because I had to pay the price. And now I'm able to save and do the things I need to do. I'm able to buy certain things. I'm able to invest in a lot of different things. So, with that being said, learn to make the hard decisions. Learn to focus on those things that you need to focus on. But when you're making these decisions, first of all, you built yourself up where you have confidence in the decision that you're going to be making. If as hard as it is, you know your decision is going to be solid and you're going to back it because you made that decision, because you weren't one of those people who was emotional. You were logical and you were focused and you thought it through. And this is the decision that you have made based on the information that you have at that time. And you make it and you stand on that. You learn to make the tough ones. So with that being said, guys, if you got anything from this channel, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate you for viewing me. I know there's literally thousands upon thousands of YouTube channels and you've taken the time to listen to mine. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. But like I said, learn to make the hard decisions. Stand on your decision. Let's get it.